Lions has some very difficult road games in 2025. What are the toughest?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team indeed every single day. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd into Thursday, July 3rd. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thank you to our everyday listeners that are out there, the everydayers, who check us out on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Please subscribe or find us wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Thank you for doing so and checking us out daily right here on Locked On Lions. We're getting closer, folks, to rookies coming in for training camp July 16th, so just 14 days away. And then the Veterans Report, July the 19th. Locked On Lions today is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. If you missed yesterday, Bill Keenist was incredible. Longtime Lions Vice President of Communications and PR man joined us yesterday. So if you want to go back and check out yesterday's episode, please do so. On the show today, let's talk Lions road games. Let's talk about the schedule. Oh, yeah. There are going to be some very difficult road games, but how difficult and what are the toughest games on the schedule on the road for this team? We will spell that out for you coming up. Also, Dan Skipper defends Detroit. Like major social media things happening. People are ripping on the city. WNBA. And who comes to the Lions' rescue? Not Jared Goff, not Dan Campbell, not Amon-Ra St. Brown, not even Brad Holmes or Mrs. Ford, Sheila Hamp. Nope. Dan Skipper. We'll react a little bit to some things that were said yesterday on the show, and we'll do a call of the day. If you want to be our call of the day, please leave a voicemail at www.speakpipe.com. That's speak with a K, pipe.com/Derry, DERY, podcast page. Shout out to the Harbor Springs Insider. I know he was glued in yesterday. Appreciate you as always and your listenership as an everyday listener. All right, ESPN came out with something back in January, and I was thinking about it today driving and getting some work done. And I was in the car, and I don't know why I was thinking about the Lions season, but I was. And I'm like, who are they playing on the road this year? Because it's going to be a gauntlet, right? I mean, they got to go to Green Bay, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Washington, Philly, LA for the Rams, which is going to be a Lions home game, at Minnesota and at Chicago. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 road games as opposed to 8 home games. And it got me thinking about, all right, what are the most difficult road games for this team? Where's the toughest place to play? What's going to be the toughest spot for the Lions to go in and win? And remember, last year, the Lions went undefeated on the road, 8-0, and won in some pretty tough environments, all right, including at Minnesota. They had to go to Dallas and win. They had to go to San Francisco and win when they were shorthanded at the end of last year and all of that stuff. But ESPN did a survey of 111 players and asked them to vote on the toughest places to play. So the top 10 toughest stadiums, road games for opponents. Number 1, Kansas City. Number 2, Seattle. Number 3, Minnesota. Number 4, Philadelphia. 5 is Buffalo. So KC, Seattle, Minnesota, Philly, and Buffalo were ranked as the top 5 toughest places to play. Then you've got New Orleans, Denver, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. Now, I think we can all agree the Lions and Ford Field being the 10th toughest place to play is ridiculous. It should be higher. It should be higher up. Now, again, you factor in crowd noise, you factor in fans, you factor in weather, the stadium, everything. But Detroit coming in at number 10 surprises me. That place is raucous. You, the fans, make that a very, very difficult place to play. And I'm sorry, New Orleans being number 6 and Detroit number 10 doesn't cut it for me. Pittsburgh at 9, yeah, that's a tough place to play because that field is a piece of garbage. Heinz Field or Acrisure or whatever they call it, that field sucks. It's slippery as hell. But all of that is baked into this cake. All right. So KC, Seattle, Minnesota, Philly, Buffalo, New Orleans, Denver, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. Those are the top 10 toughest places to play. So, with that being the backdrop, how many of those places do the Lions have to play this season? So I looked it up. Obviously, the Lions have to go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. That is considered the toughest place to play. And the Lions will be in Kansas City for week 6 for Sunday Night Football on October the 12th. So that's one. Number 2, Minnesota. We saw that. They finished third on this list. The Lions have to go to Minnesota Christmas Day at 4:30 in the afternoon. The Lions have 3 of these teams on their schedule because the Lions have to go to Philadelphia. So 3 of the top 4 toughest places to play, according to the players, the Lions have to be at. They will be in Philly, facing the Eagles, Sunday Night Football, November the 16th. And then the last one, of course, is Green Bay, which came in at number 8. And the Lions have to go to Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love, Peter Bukowski, and the Green Bay Packers in week 1, Sunday, 4:25. Week 1, the opener. Not as bad as I thought. All right. Because we know, like I said, I mean, the Lions have to go to play at Baltimore. And the last time the Lions played in Baltimore at MB&T Stadium, whatever they call it, they got destroyed. You look at the game in Chicago in week 18, we don't even know if that's even going to have any meaning to it or not. At the Rams, that's a joke. There will be more Lions fans in the building at SoFi than Rams fans, right? Commanders not going to be an easy game. I mentioned Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati is considered that raucous of a place to play. Cincinnati on this list came in. Baltimore's 11, Cleveland 12, New England 13. Yeah, Cincinnati's like 18. So there you have it. The Lions are going to have to play in 4 of the toughest environments in the NFL based upon top 10. And I truly believe that Ford Field and that Lions home stadium should be at least ahead of New Orleans, right? But this is going to be a gauntlet this year. It's going to be very, very difficult. The game at Kansas City, what's great about this game in week 6, and it's a Sunday night game, is that a lot of those Lions players have already experienced success at Arrowhead Stadium. They've won there. 2 years ago, week 1, Thursday Night Football, nobody thought the Lions would win. Yes, Kelsey was out. Yes, Smith was out. Yet the Lions did their thing. Chris Jones, not Chris Smith. Chris Smith's on the Lions. Chris Jones was out. And the Lions won there. So they can win it. They can win there. They know how to do it. All right. Playing 2 of the tougher top 4 stadiums and having to play at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia for a night game on Sunday night, and Kansas City, Sunday night, a night game as well, makes it even more difficult. But I think this Lions team knows how to win on the road. Did it last year, didn't lose a single road game. They're going to lose some road games this year. They just are. All right. But it is interesting what the players think about what the tough stadiums are and what the toughest venues are. And, top 10, Lions are going to have to play in 4 of those. But I think it's going to make them stronger in the end. And I think it's going to be getting ready for this season and preparing yourself. And I know I have a shared Google Calendar with my wife, and I put all the Lions dates on there, all the games. Trying to put that together where you're not just putting 1 o'clock every Sunday down. I mean, the Lions play, what did we say? 3, 4, 5 1 o'clock games right now out of 17. That's it. But yet the night games, the 4:25, it's exciting though. Prime time, the window everybody's watching, the buzz of the national audience for this team. And they got to deliver. They've got to deliver. And right now there's question marks, of course, with the 2 new coordinators, with Frank Ragnow retiring. But I think this team is up for the challenge. And I think it's pretty cool that they're going to be facing some very hostile environments, including Kansas City, which is considered the toughest place to play by NFL player standards. All right, Dan Skipper comes to the rescue of the city of Detroit. All right, we got a mayoral race coming up in Detroit. Mike Duggan's leaving. He's going to run for governor. We got Mary Sheffield. Who are some of these other people? Dan Skipper maybe should run for mayor of Detroit. I'll tell you why coming up next. All right, folks, what about our friends at FanDuel? Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. All right, you're already following the games. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. All right, it's easy to use. The FanDuel app, fast for payouts, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Maybe today you were checking out Tigers and Nationals in the first of two, and you had the over in runs. You did well. Last I looked, the Tigers are up like 10-1 in that game. Makes the games interesting. The Tigers are running away with the division. But check it all out, all the action that you can bet on these games at FanDuel. Are you new to FanDuel? New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, it is a Wednesday edition of a Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for being here, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Tell your Lion fan friends if they are unaware of Locked On Lions to check us out. Please, I think we're over 15,000 subscribers now on YouTube, and appreciate all of you and your support. Love all the comments. I see them, whether it's on Twitter at Derry Speaks or on Blue Sky, the Matt Derry Facebook fan page, YouTube commenters. Thank you, all of you that check us out. And whether you even hate the show or ripping on me, at least you're making an effort and you're checking out the program. And that's all we can ask for. All right, big news here. All right, Sophie Cunningham has been in the news and is ticked off the city of Detroit. The Indiana Fever star player, not the star, I mean, Caitlin Clark's a star, but Sophie Cunningham is a very popular WNBA player playing for the Indiana Fever. And yesterday she was asked on a media session about all of the expansion that's going to be taking place in the WNBA. You got new teams coming in Portland, Philly, Detroit, and Cleveland. And Sophie Cunningham said, quote, "I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit or Cincinnati." She meant Cleveland. "I don't know how excited people are going to be going to Detroit." So she talked about that Miami needed to be getting a team, Nashville and Kansas City. But she took a little shot at our fair city here in Detroit. Now, remember, we had some success with our WNBA outfit years ago when the Detroit Shock, led by Bill Lambier, my buddy Rick Mahorn, and others, one of my very dear friends, Deanna Nolan, who played on that team, number 14, they won 3 championships in 6 years. And those championship games, I think there were 2 of them at the Palace, 1 at the Joe, were draws, and it was fun. All right. And it kind of fizzled, and Mr. Davidson passed away, and the Shock ended up moving to Tulsa. Well, now the WNBA team is back. I don't know if it's going to be named the Shock or not. And your Detroit Lions own Dan Skipper, Skip, as he is known in the locker room, a legend for his role in the tackle eligible game where the Lions got screwed, the reporting game in Dallas. He quote tweeted the Yahoo Sports tweet with Sophie Cunningham in there and said, quote, "You ever been there? Pretty good place to play. Well, not for you now." End quote. Dan Skipper coming to the defense of the city of Detroit. Here's a guy that, again, has been off and on with this franchise for like 10 years, is a backup, but maybe is a cult hero in this town because he's going to bat for the city. Now, again, anytime these things go viral and they get placed up on social media and any of the sites, whether it's Instagram or Twitter. And by the way, I'm calling it Twitter. I will always call it Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Blue Sky, wherever you're on social media. Sophie Cunningham is getting dragged. All right. Dan Gilbert, who of course has Detroit ties and is from here and has Cleveland ties, owning the Cleveland Cavaliers. He shamed everybody is shaming what Sophie Cunningham had to say. I don't know if Sophie Cunningham is a good person or not. We know she's a very popular WNBA player. She's a very attractive woman, and she's very popular. Will she retract it? Will she apologize? Who knows? All right. But Detroit getting dumped on and the city getting, dragged or whatever you want to say it's not friendly fodder anymore or even friendly fire or whatever. It's an old bit. This town is an unbelievable destination. Downtown is back. I'm downtown a lot. My wife and I love going downtown, checking out the new restaurants, bars, the scene down there, going to games down there, going to shows down there. The Great Lakes that we have here. Everybody some of you listening to me right now are heading up north to your cottages. It is a beautiful place. I've lived here, gosh, August of '96. I mean, we're closing in on 30 years here for me in this town, and I love it. And I'm not moving, not yet, but you get what I'm saying. That's another topic for another day. But I'm not going to move from Detroit to another American city. I'll tell you that much. Or state. This place is great. So for Sophie Cunningham to say, "Oh, I'm not sure why anybody would want to come to Detroit," the Shock or the WNBA team, whoever it is, there will be fans that will be rabid, raucous, and into it. All right. So love seeing Dan Skipper, the longtime Lions backup tackle, sticking up for us. And that's a guy that has been a veteran in that locker room. That doesn't surprise me that he did that. So I thought that was pretty cool to see today. All right. In case you missed yesterday's show, longtime Lions vice president of communications and PR man, ran media relations for over 35 years. Bill Keenist was on the program. And I saw on YouTube some of the comments. Many of you enjoyed the storytelling that Bill told. We had Bill on the show because over the weekend, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton for the awards of excellence and being honored for his years of service with the Lions. And the likes of Matthew Stafford, Jim Caldwell, Rod Marinelli, Eric Kramer, Goster Cherilus, all the PR people that followed Bill or worked with Bill, Mike Murray, Matt Barnhart, now Eamon Reynolds, who's the Lions VP of Communications, were all there as well. Mark Champion was there. The former voice of the Lions, of course, was with the Lions for a long, long time. It was awesome. All right. You're happy for a guy like Bill. Bill and I didn't always see eye to eye, but if you watched or listened to yesterday's interview, he was tremendous. The stories that he told, talking about behind the scenes with Larry Foote one year on the road, where Larry Foote bought tickets for kids and wanted them in the stadium for all the road games. The story he told about Ndamukong Suh hanging up on Mike Valenti and Terry Foster years ago, and me when I was working with them at the ticket. It was great. Talked about Joe Gibbs. He talked about how great of a guy Rod Marinelli was. It's that kind of insight, and those are fun stories, man. The one thing that stuck with me, and go back and watch the interview from yesterday or listen to it, is Bill talking about being in the stadium when the Lions won their first playoff game in 30 some odd years when they beat the Rams. And Bill was there working for the league at the time. And he talked about the scene, and it reminded me about what a special night that was in, it was a 2023 season, but it was 2024. It was in January when Stafford and the Rams came in, and that environment and that victory. I think, of course, the next week they beat Tampa too. But man, it just reminds us, and Bill said it, about what sports does for us, gets us excited, gets us united, and what the Lions do for the fan base. Here's a guy that, let's be honest, the Lions let go, right? The Lions relieved Bill of his duties and made him a team historian for a while. And that was it. Yet he came back to Ford Field. He worked the game, and he had goosebumps, and he was excited, and he got a chance to go outside right after the game, 20, 30 minutes after, be a part of the crowd. We're dying for that. I mean, that opening home game, the home opener on September 14th against the Bears, we're all waiting for it. And look, the Tigers are having a great season. Comerica Park's rocking. It's been great. There's nothing like a packed Lions game at Ford Field. Nothing like it. So excited about that for sure. All right, coming up next, we will bring you a call of the day. One of our everyday listeners checking in. We will do that next right here on this, a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions. And don't forget, Jake Riepma is with you each and every day for the postcast following Tiger baseball after their games against the Nationals today. Go to Locked On Sports Detroit. And the host, Jake, does a great job of recapping the game for you on Locked On Sports Detroit's YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Postcast after every Tiger game, Red Wings, Pistons, and Lions. Live shows with Jake Riepma, the postcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, folks, we love checking in with you, the listeners and viewers. Always enjoy the conversations that we get to have with you guys and hear from you. And you can do so by leaving a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Derry, DERY podcast page. That is speakpipe.com/Derry, DERY podcast page. It is our call of the day. And today's call of the day is brought to you by Walker. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Matt, this is Walker from Virginia, first-time caller, everyday listener. I wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on the upcoming season. Seems like they have to play a lot of opposing quarterbacks that are very mobile, and I know that that's the way the league is going nowadays. Just mobile quarterbacks are the thing of the future, and I know that the Lions in years past have not been able to stop mobile quarterbacks, and I know that the defense was very banged up when they played Washington, but they were not even able to come close to stopping Washington with Jaden Daniels and that offense, with him running the ball up and down the field on them all game long. And it never seems like to me that it's been a big deal to them with Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes to stopping the quarterback from running it on them. When asked about it last season, they said, who is able to stop an opposing mobile quarterback? It's not easy. But it seems like if they're going to have to make the Super Bowl, they're going to have to go through a Jalen Hurts or a J.J. McCarthy with Minnesota or a Jaden Daniels. They're going to have to play these guys in the postseason when it matters most. And do you think that with getting the defense back healthy will be enough to stop the opposing quarterback from running it on them? Or do you think that it's going to have to be a change in play calling? So I wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on that. Thank you, Matt. Bye-bye.
All right, Walker, thank you. Walker checking in again out of state as well. Appreciate him from Virginia being an everyday listener. Interesting question. This is one I'm not sure I have 100% answer on, but bear with me here. Walker is talking about how the Lions over the last few years have struggled against mobile quarterbacks. I would say that is true, but not as bad as it used to be. If you recall, I would say maybe the first year of Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, but after that, the Lions, I think, have been better. Last year, they made good adjustments in games against the mobile quarterbacks. Now, did they do well against Josh Allen the entire game against Buffalo? No. Jaden Daniels? Hell no. All right. It was a bleep show. They got smoked at Ford Field by both of those guys. But if you recall, let's go to the Indianapolis game from a year ago. First drive of the game, Anthony Richardson broke off like a 45-yard run. And you're like, oh gosh, this guy's going to run for $150. They made adjustments throughout that game and did a much better job of keeping him in the pocket, keeping him in the box, and not allowing him to scramble and destroy them. Yes, a couple of years ago, the Lions had to go to Baltimore, face Lamar Jackson. He ran all over him. But a lot of that was through the air. It wasn't all just Lamar's legs. The Lions will face 3 very mobile quarterbacks to start the year. Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, who's not a great runner per se, but he can move. And then obviously Lamar Jackson. Before in week 4, they take on the Browns, and who knows who the quarterback is going to be for the Browns. It could be Kenny Pickett, could be Joe Flacco. Heck, it could be Shedeur Sanders or even Dylan Gabriel by week 4. The thing that I think hindered the Lions the most last year at the end of the year when they had to face Josh Allen late in the year and then Jaden Daniels in the playoff game were the injuries to the linebacking crew. If the Lions linebackers are healthy this year, and you're talking about Jack Campbell playing a lot of snaps, Alex Anzalone being out there, Derek Barnes being out there, I think the Lions are going to be okay and in decent shape. A year ago, when they had to play Jamal Adams at linebacker, right? They had Jalen Reeves-Maben having to play major snaps at linebacker. And right now, he's a free agent and not even on a roster. I think that really hurt. Guys like Anzalone stay. Alex Anzalone's not a speed burner. But Alex Anzalone, when he has to kind of shadow the other team's quarterback, is okay at it. All right. Knows how to take good angles and get there. And Derek Barnes, the same thing. Derek Barnes is a good player. But last year missed, 16 of the 18 games after getting injured? So I think the healthy linebacking crew, and we know this, Malcolm Rodriguez might not be back until November, and we're not sure if Alex Anzalone is going to show up for training camp. I think he will, but it remains to be seen. But I think the Lions have all the pieces in place to still be aggressive, yet find a way to stop some of these mobile quarterbacks. Here's the thing, though. Not a lot of teams do. Lamar Jackson's a future Hall of Famer. To sit there and go, well, the Lions couldn't stop Lamar Jackson. Well, could the Browns? Could the Steelers? Could the Bengals? It's easier said than done. Geno Smith was a guy that with his legs and his ability to throw on the run has always seemed to have success against the Lions. You're right. But I think they'll be better this year as long as the linebackers are healthy. Yes, Jalen Hurts is going to be tough. Jaden Daniels is going to be tough. Mahomes moves around. Lions beat Mahomes a couple years ago. He didn't run all over them in that game. So don't forget that they did that. All right, that'll do it for us on a Wednesday Locked On Lions. We are back again tomorrow. Thank you for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. It is a Wednesday Locked On Lions. Have a great night.